right, let's call this meeting to order for June 16th, 5:30. Roll call, Henry? Here. Marianne?
Here.
I'm here too. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go to public input. Anyone?
David Earl, 79 Main Street. At the April 21st Police Commission meeting, Officer Davina asked Commissioner Gagnon if there are two standards here. And Commissioner Gagnon said, no, there shouldn't be. On that basis, I'd like to make the following comments. November 18th Police Commission, Captain Cecilio spoke at length about safe school reports. This was witnessed by a number of Hooksett residents. Captain Cecilio's comments do not appear in the minutes. The audio tape of the December 2008 Police Commission meeting was destroyed before the minutes were approved, violating the Hampshire RSA. This was stated by Commissioner Gagnon at the April 17th meeting. He also stated that nothing was done to that tape that wasn't done to others. He added that he didn't think anyone on the board that knew this was occurring. These minutes also played an important role in Officer Davina's hearing in April of 2009. The minutes of April 17th, 2009 Police Commission meeting indicated that the first part of the public session lasted 2 minutes. At the May 19th meeting, it was pointed out to the Commission that the meeting lasted 5 minutes and 38 seconds. A DVD was presented to the Commission, which had the audio recording on it with a timer indicating the time. Mr. Meyerville also submitted verbatim minutes of that meeting, and to this time, those minutes have still not been amended. To ensure that there's a single standard of accountability in the Hooksett Police Department, and to create an accurate record and preserve that record, I ask for an investigation to be conducted on the matter of the minutes. No comment? Next. At the May 19th, 2009 Police Commission meeting, the Commission was presented with an anonymous complaint against the Chief. The Chief stated, same stuff as 4 years ago, I was cleared 4 years ago. So I asked the Chief, will you consent to have the 2005 investigation report made public?
Nope.
Have any Hooksett police officers ever been investigated or disciplined based on anonymous complaints? Is there an answer?
Those would be personnel issues, so there would be no comment on those.
Do you accept anonymous complaints against officers?
Yes.
You do. But we're not going to accept an anonymous complaint against the Chief. To me, that sounds like two standards. Last week, the Town Council was sent a letter from Mr. Gagnon and Mr. Roy stating their preferences for Police Commission candidates. Was this letter discussed in non-public session of the Police Commission meeting?
I believe it was. Was it not, Steve? Yeah. Does
That meet the RSA for non-public session where those are not personnel matters?
No, there's other parts to the RSA if you read it. It's not just personnel.
I just wanted to establish whether or not you discussed it during that time. The letter was marked confidential, and I wonder by what authority it was made confidential. Because the letter was released. So there was nothing binding the letter. The letter's been made public.
It's correct. Unofficially.
No, officially, I filed a right to know act and I possess the letter now. My question is...
The town gave it to him?
Yeah.
Still was released unofficially at the town council meeting.
That's not council meeting. Yes.
Well, the town would have to respect any authority that made it confidential that was legitimate, should I say? Was it just stamped confidential?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's not, was it really confidential now?
I don't know how it got stamped confidential.
Well, was two letters,
I
both were
stamped it
signed.
because that's how we normally do it, because you discuss the issue in non-public.
Okay. So there's your answer.
But it wasn't confidential.
Then it was stamped confidential because it was discussed in non-public.
But it wasn't protected as being confidential.
Of course it was protected. It was stamped confidential, was it not?
Then I wouldn't have received it.
We did not release it. And we were the ones who stamped it confidential, so whoever released it was in error.
And I suppose the town administrators, and everything you're saying by giving me that letter,
If it was not released,
What difference does it make?
that's not my question. Well, my question is this, if something is stamped confidential, it was brought up at the town council meeting, and there was debate about whether or not it should be
But
discussed.
I understand you have the letter, right?
Yes, and my point is, if it's not confidential, and it's public record, then I don't think it should be stamped confidential. That's my opinion, sir. Thank you.
Mark Eagle, 42 Main Street, good evening. At the March 17th meeting, I had a long conversation with you guys regarding the inappropriateness of the meeting starting at a different time. And on April 21st, you explained that you started 2 minutes early, which we described digitally over an audio tape that had actually started and lasted 5 minutes and 38 seconds. I subsequently said on April 21st, requested that the minutes be approved as an addendum to the March 17th minutes, and I presented that to the council. I have a copy of that minute, which states that the commissioner went off his watch. I'm sorry. Mark Needle submitted a copy of the tape minutes verbatim and wanted to offer a copy for submission as an addendum to the minutes that the commission just approved as an attachment to the meeting. Commissioner Gagnon stated that he could hand them in and take them under consideration. I now want to hand them over to you again, but first I want to discuss another meeting notes that, as of last month, Mr. David Pearl had submitted another request for me in my absence. I also submitted some addendum minutes to the meeting of April 21st, which you also said that you would take it under advisement and under consideration on the May 19th meeting, page 1 of your notes. Two questions of that, or two statements of that. I want to know what the next steps are after a commissioner states, we'll take it under advisement. What does that mean to a regular citizen? And what actions are taken after it's stated, we'll take it under advisement, 3 months after I've requested it. I'm now going to post these minutes again, respectfully asking you to submit these minutes verbatim from those meetings as addendums to those meetings of March 17th and April 21st. I don't know why you wouldn't want to record actual minutes of the meeting, and in effect to have transparency and accountability to your meetings. These minutes are inaccurate, and I've done a good faith effort to make these minutes accurate. I spent 4 hours transcribing those tapes, and all I get is, we'll take it under advisement. I would like to know from the commission what that means. I would like to also move the question right now.
Move the question.
I would like to move the question to adopt the minutes of March 17th that I proposed and the addendum to the minutes of April 21st that I proposed, which you said you would take it under advisement 2 months ago and 3 months ago. I want to move the question for a vote to adopt the minutes of those meetings as addendums.
No, I advise you that's improper. The commission decides what you're going to do. This is in the public session.
Excuse me?
He can move the question.
First of all, I'm not talking to you, sir. I'm addressing the commission.
I'm addressing.
excuse me.
I'm addressing the commission.
Please.
Excuse me. Any other questions?
For me? Okay. So is there no movement on it?
It's up to you to call for a movement.
I just did. Twice. I officially call for a motion to adopt those minutes as addendums to the March 17th meeting and the April 21st meetings as presented to this commission on May 19th and April 21st for the minutes of March 17th and April 21st. So moved.
Anyone want to second it?
No, he can't make that.
No,
He doesn't make the motion.
I'm requesting a motion to be made, sir, as a private citizen.
That's a request, you're not moving the question. Requested?
I'm requesting a motion, that's what I said. Is that what you said, take it out of advisement again? Is that what you said? Is that the response, just respectfully?
That's my response.
Okay. What's your other responses, commissioners?
Take it into advisement.
What does that mean? Now that two commissioners have asked, what does that mean for me to understand what take under advisement means? Respectfully asking. The silence is deafening. Thank you very much. I want to read into the following minutes for today's meeting. These are minutes from April 21st. Captain Cecilio, the problem was put to me was to what problems we do have in the schools. So then on December 14th, we had Lieutenant Detective Bernardi run a string search who reads all the reports in the agency and signs off on most of them. Unless he's absent, I do it. What happens is, we didn't find anything. 1810 of the meeting, timed. Captain Cecilio, there's no more than 3 reports. 8:15 to 21:06. Captain Cecilio, we sat down with principals and asked what we were missing. Are there any reports outstanding? What did we miss? They could not provide us with anything. J.R. Roulette, we're asking what they're missing. Captain Cecilio, we showed them what we had. Would somebody like to read this for me?
Somebody was not going to yell.
I'm done.
You better get it.
Take it under advisement.
All right.
Maura Willett, 3 Summerfair Street. On Saturday, April 4th, 2009, the Police Commission held a non-public meeting for personnel issues. This was scheduled to start at 12 noon, 1 hour prior to the start of the town deliberative session. I have attended all of the public Police Commission meetings since that time, and there have been no conversations or documentation, including meeting minutes, since that time. Could you explain this?
Seeing there was no non-public meeting.
It was posted as a public meeting, and you were here.
It was posted as,
As a non-public meeting.
We have to go back and research it.
I thought we met before.
It was
It's a
posted as a
non-meeting.
non-public
I don't
meeting.
remember, we don't go back and forward.
Yeah. We weren't.
The Merrimack County Sheriff's Department recently released its findings of the investigation it conducted regarding whether or not a cover-up existed by the Hooksett Police Department regarding safe school reports. To paraphrase, the investigation concluded that the Hooksett Police Department did not intentionally cover up safe school reports, they were just incompetent. The report contained a lot of he said, she said, but it also alluded to some very troubling practices. I'm referring to the investigator's comments that statements made by Commissioner Gagnon left an impression that he was speaking in terms that the police department and the police commission had acted as one rather than independently. The investigators also concluded that the Hooksett Police Commission could have taken a more active role in the handling of the incident. This view is based on the fact that communication between the police department and the complainants was very clearly deteriorating at a rapid pace. As a result, the lack of effective communication between the parties may have given an appearance that a cover-up of safe school reports was taking place. It is believed that the Police Commission, being both independent and unbiased, should have recognized the situation forming and stepped in sooner and taken a stronger role in the process of resolving the issue. The Commission could have ordered the production of the safe school reports prior to this action being taken by the Willettes. It is also described that the Police Department took a defensive stance regarding this issue. The report also states that if the Commission believes that additional action is needed, it is advised that they consider contracting an independent resource to conduct a full study of the department and its operations. I believe everyone in this room has an opinion regarding the operations, behavior, and management style of the Hooksett Police Department. Unfortunately, they are all very different viewpoints. At this time, is the Police Commission considering the option suggested by the Sheriff's Department to end the speculation once and for all and conduct a full study or a full audit? Thank you.
No. Okay. Any more public input? Moving on. Public minutes from May 19th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Non-public, May 19th.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Steve?
You have, we provided to you a copy of the town's budget report and the police department's budget report, which coincide. It shows week 48 out of 52 weeks of the year for this budget are 92.31%. PD as of week 48 was expended at 78.37%. And Francine provided with the variance report also. Any questions on the budget report?
It appears we only have, I think there's 6 line items over expended, so it appears that we're in fairly decent shape going into June. 4 of them are minor. That's all. The only comment I had was that oh, I did have one question on the drug alcohol testing. Then we pay that once a year, for instance? Looked like it all came through in May.
That was for, it had to be that the officers get vaccinated for.
Oh, so the whole department was vaccinated?
It's, yeah.
Okay.
Anything else on the budget?
No.
I also gave you a copy that we received from the town of next year's budget. That's the spreadsheet that we have here. That may be found on the table tonight, so you can look at that. That's obviously what was discussed at town meeting, and so we have it in the formal format, if you will, from finance. On the next issue, which is the Verizon Tower repeater, we've talked about that a number of times. Off-stream mount since the last time we met did move the antenna up. The 2 towers are talking to each other like they're supposed to. Testing was done today by Captain Daigle as far as areas in town that in the past have been known to be dead spots, which is why we have the number of repeaters we have. And I'd just like to ask the captain just to take a few minutes just to explain quickly about the testing that was done today and the results of that.
I pulled the last 3 years' worth of radio problem case numbers. We compiled locations for those case numbers and went out today to those locations and tested both vehicle radios and portables in those locations. And all locations, with the exception of one, were all loud and clear.
Was the one that wasn't any better? It's hard to tell, I know, but...
There was a little odd thing with that. The vehicle was in the area of Mammoth Road. It was a vehicle that I was in. My unmarked unit came across as scratchy, hard to read a little bit. When I got out of the unit with the portable was loud and clear. You would expect it to be the other way around.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened there, but the portable was loud and clear from Carrington Farms there on Mammoth Road. So, all the other locations, dispatch advised me they were loud and clear, both radio, unit radio, and portables. And I heard them at all locations loud and clear.
Good. They got approved.
Any questions on that or
At the end of the tunnel.
for that project? Yes.
Yes.
Next item, the town administrator mentioned at the meeting last week about the issue of a rave event occurring at the Space Center. One thing that wasn't mentioned and I thought was worth bringing up, I don't believe it was mentioned, was that after the beginning of the week after that event, the different departments involved that either were involved over the weekend or became involved that Monday met, and ultimately on, I think it was June 3rd, the town did issue a notice of violation to these owners of the Space Center. So just to follow up with what Carol had said the other night, that the departments had gotten together, worked on the issue, and I believe through town attorney came up with this notice of violation. So town building inspector will be following up on that issue because the notice of violation comes from that office.
Rumor has it there's another one scheduled for August. I just heard that this morning.
Yeah, we heard that too. And obviously we'll be watching that. We also have had contact, the department has had with the state liquor department, liquor inspectors as far as potential issues there. That's obviously their area. They'll deal with that. So the town is looking at it from this violation point of view, and whatever the process is at the town level for dealing with a business that is deemed to be in violation, liquor department's looking at it from their point of view. I would say with this paperwork, unless something changes, the event will not occur, or if somebody tries to have the event, it will automatically be shut down. But the building inspection department is the one that works on these violations.
I could, Chief, the original intent of that facility, are they in conflict with having these events as being in direct confrontation with the original intent of the building?
That's the way I read the violation. We obviously didn't write the violation, but it talks about that in the 95 approval, it was approved for a family entertainment center. Let's see, and it talks about some of the other issues that the planning board dealt with in 95 as far as what that building was going to be used for and the scope of the operation, and that as of recently, they're using it beyond that scope. So it basically says you allowed, basically, you went past the planning board approval minutes or approval. So that's, I guess, what the violation is. And it hits a number of areas in here that talks about, and again, we're not involved in that planning process, but areas that what occurred there the other night is different than what was the purpose approved by the planning board. Next item, Commissioners, and that was do not make it into your packet. You have an encumbrance vote before you. We talked about this a little bit last year, and this year Carol and I both talked to an attorney at the LGC, and as Carol talked to Attorney Bob Mayer, Paul remembers we dealt with this issue last year. The issue is prepaid and encumbrances. The attorneys agreed that prepays are legal. They're done in many communities around the state. The prepay means that you paid for an item before you physically received it. If that's the case, according to the attorneys, that is technically not an encumbrance because you paid it. It's an encumbrance only if you hold the money later on, like the council sometimes does, and pays the bill. Exactly.
Into the new year.
Exactly. So technically, it's not an encumbrance under the entire state 32, I believe, 32:7 in talking to LGC. However, at the request of the administrator and the budget director, because they have a certain way they have to post their expenditures for the auditors. It helps the town finance department during the audit that any items that are prepaid are posted as an encumbrance, even though technically they're not an encumbrance, if you will. So what we agreed to do with the town is, as we did last year, is the town will pay the bills, because it's proper to pay the bills, to ask the commission to take a vote to encumber these purchases, 2 of which you've already approved, and 3 are approved under my authority. But to take the vote so that the bills will get paid, which they would have anyway, but then finance and administration will have a better paper trail for the auditors when the auditors come in. So that there's a little bit of conflict there, if you will, in what the law says as far as that and what the auditors want to see, but by doing it this way, we cover both areas. Everything's perfectly legal, everything's done the right way. The town's working with us and we're working with the town to help them on the auditing end. So therefore, I put in front of you the 2 on this memo, 2 items that you have already approved as a commission to purchase, which was the 2009 Ford 250 van and the upfitting of that van. The other 3 items are items that that I have approved, that is, and we've talked about. One of these items, at least, was a video audio system for this room to replace that tape recorder, basically. In looking at our operations, we found that we had a blind spot in the cell block area, so authorized 2 cameras to go into that area, round out that area, cover the 2 blind spots. And last project, which is on the training structure, that lean-to down at the range, is to put in some electrical there so we can plug our generator into it for our night operations. So you have the total bills here. These will be sent to the town to be paid. And I would ask you to just take a formal vote to encumber so that, again, Finance has those minutes to help them with the auditors.
Question here. Why do we need electricity to plug a generator into?
To have lights down there at night.
What's the generator for?
The generator's for the power. There's no electricity down.
Oh, okay. Now I understand.
So
So
we're-
you're
what we
wiring
do now
the
is-
building and you're going to plug the generator into power the lights?
Yes.
Okay.
Lights, and one of the things you do for training, for night training, you do different levels of illumination. You also do, Manchester has a thing that's very nice, and we're going to do similar, is you actually mount blue lights in the top of the range, and the officers shoot the targets. The only light that's lighting the range is the blue light. So you simulate at night different scenarios that they would run into for the purpose of their training, for their safety, and also for our liability, that they've been trained in different areas that are the true situations they would encounter.
Are these firm quotes, Chief, the 3 bottom ones?
Yes.
Okay. So we don't need like a range or a not to?
No.
No, we're not voting on a 3 bottom, it's just a 2 top.
No, you actually are, just to say that you review them and you formally, to help the town, are encumbering them, even though they are prepaid, and we are going to pay them out of this year's budget immediately.
Do you have a total?
Yes, total is $53,964.
53,964?
Yes. And Paul, you'll see that'll be, it will be discussed as your encumbrances on your list for the council, but commission encumbrances are truly, actually prepaid, if you will. And that goes along with what Bart said last year and this year.
And having worked with Les, I will say he did a fine job on pricing things down.
I think the van came in at under $44,000, and originally the first quotes we had received on that, we were looking up to about 50 or early 50, so did a lot of work on getting that down and getting the same vehicle.
You can do a grand total or individual, Steve?
I guess whatever way you want. I mean, again, from our point of view, they're bills that we're paying, they're going to be paid anyway.
Right.
Or what do you think, Paul? Do you think you want an individual or a grand total?
You better get an individual.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I still think, I'm still puzzled why prepay at all, period.
On a lot of the items...
I know you have the right to prepay, but I just question if you haven't received the goods or the services.
On a lot of the items we get better deals because
We prepay.
we prepay.
I'll leave it up to the commission.
All right. We can do 5 individual votes?
Yeah, I guess you could do, or one motion mentioning the five items.
All right. I'll make the motion that we encumber the 2009 Ford van for $19,757. The transport van upfitting, $23,770. The media room audio video, $5,714. The cell block booking area, $1,748. And the range training structure electrical, $2,975. With a grand total of $53,964.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And one more items that didn't make it to the agenda, short items, and I asked if it's okay to bring those forward to you. At the last week's council meeting, there was some discussion as far as the council's policy on appointing police commissioners. what I have done, so the council will have it for their meeting next week, is I've made a copy of the council's procedure, and we mailed it out. I don't know if you got yours, but we mailed it out to all the councilors. It was obvious that not all the councilors were on the same page as far as the procedure that the council has in place and that was voted a number of years ago. So hopefully that will help the councilors all be on the same page, at least on the get-go out the door next week.
I believe that, I don't know if I was involved, but I think that policy was proposed way back in 2002,
Yep.
but didn't get approved for a couple of years.
Correct.
Right.
It was approved by council at the time. The motion, second, and carried unanimously to accept it.
Well, that's the minutes I sent you.
Yeah.
Right. No, when it was originally proposed, it was originally proposed in 2002. It actually did not get adopted by the council until 2004. Remember, Mike DiPatetto was council chair, and
Mike was council.
the police liaison also at the time. So I also included with that, as Paul said, the minutes.
That's a rather short one-pager, basically, right? I think you have it. You have it there?
Yeah, the actual policy.
Yeah.
Yes. That you guys adopted. Yes.
If you want to, if you could, would you mind reading it? I think it's rather generic.
Okay. This is what the council adopted unanimously. There's a number of steps here. Number one, the town council. This is now once they put out the notice in the paper and for an opening. Number one, the town council post openings on police commission and ask interested citizens who have been citizens for at least 5 years, because that's in the RSA, to submit a letter of interest. That goes to the council. Upon receipt of the letters, the council directs all respondents to obtain a current copy of their criminal and motor vehicle histories and asks that they sign an authorization to check their background. Third step is, upon receipt of the record checks and the signed background authorization, council then directs the police department to check our in-house records for any contacts with the candidates. Step 4, the town council reviews the letters of intent, the external record checks, the internal record checks, and determines which candidates should continue to be considered for appointment. The next step, the town council checks with the current police commissioners for any information on issues, problems, or conflicts of interest of any candidates. The last step is the town council ultimately appoints a police commissioner. And then the last line is just a note that at some point a candidate should be given a copy of the law that states the commissioner's duties. Sometimes the council does that, sometimes we do that. We definitely do that anyway, but sometimes people will ask for it earlier on. So that's the procedure that the council adopted back in 2004, and now all the councilors.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing in that procedure that disqualifies anyone relevant to previous employment or type of employment.
No, it basically.
Or career.
No, it's still all totally left up to the council.
Right.
It basically means, though, and the reason we talked about this a number of years ago was because of the sensitive nature of this position, that somebody that's in this position should have a fairly good background, record checks, and allows the commissioners, if they wish, they don't have to present any general information. They're not campaigning for anybody or anything like that. And it's generic, if you will, and the ultimate authority still obviously rests with the council. So again, all the councilors, that was mailed, and if Paul got his, the others should have theirs, and hopefully there'll be a little bit more
Appreciate it.
understanding of the policy for next week.
Clarifies things.
Yep. For the commissioners, the town's annual report is due to the town on July 17th. As usual, we have in that a number of statistics which Captain Daigle worked on, budget information which Francine worked on. So what I did is I left for you tonight, I know you're just seeing it tonight, a draft. If all of you could take the draft, review it, and prior to July 17th, sooner than later if you can, let me know if any of you have any concerns or problems. Same format as we've done. See if the numbers make sense, if you have any questions, additions, deletions. It's obviously the commission's report to the town, so that's why it is a It is a rough draft, and this will give you a little bit of time now to start to review it.
So the 17th, Steve?
17th of July is when the town, when the town would like the town report, or the report from every department.
That's before our next meeting, correct? I don't have a calendar.
Our next meeting is the 20th.
All right, so don't wait till the next meeting. If you have any changes, just call Steve. Let's call you or call?
Why don't you call Francine? You can put in, questions we'll call you back on if you've got areas you want to delete or whatever. If there's a lot, what we'll do is we'll come up with a new draft. We'll incorporate the ideas, come up with a new draft, and get it to you so we can keep on working. I mean, I think realistically, if we didn't have it till the 20th, our next meeting, I don't think it's going to kill the town.
Well, let's plan on trying to get it done before. So that
Right. Well, again, you'll have to read it and see. It depends on if you have a lot of issues or you don't have a lot of issues with it. But it's a draft for you to review.
Paul?
If I could, you had asked me to keep you posted on the Turner Group's analysis of the building, what's happening with it.
Please.
And the town administrator informed me today that they are putting the final pages together of a RFQ that's going out to 6 contractors with the help of the Turner Group to get a complete breakdown of the final prices. And I guess the RFQ is broken down into a number of different approaches. In other words, segmentizing work and the overall work. And so we will come back to you, and we'll come back to the council with a complete breakdown of all the costs and the time frames involved. But that'll be a good month or 2 months away. All right.
2 last quick items. Just as an FYI for the commission. Next week, a number of the staff are attending the Emergency Preparedness Conference in Manchester. This is put on by the Department of Safety and some other state agencies. One of the big things this year for the conference, normally we only send a few people, but this year we're going to be reviewing something I think is always important. Training is always important, but going over, we've had obviously in the state a lot of issues in the last few years between tornado, floods, snowstorms, ice storms. They're going to spend quite a bit of time on legal issues and what's worked and what hasn't worked. So, we always spend a lot of time in these trainings on planning, and that's great, but now's a chance to hear, how do things really work, so we'll be better prepared for the future. And the last item is a number of the staff attended the annual Employees Labor Law Seminar earlier this month, I believe it was. We go to that every year. There's actually 2 of those we go to every year. A lot of changes in the laws coming up or that have already occurred, so that's one of the ways that we stay on top of all the labor law changes. And that's all I have for public session.
Public input?
David Pearl, 79 Main Street.
21st.
First, I'd like to submit my previous comments into the record in a written form. I'm glad to see that your lawyer's here tonight, and I hope that your lawyer will take a few moments to explain the importance of the legal record to you. I don't know what else we have to do as the public to correct the record of this board, but I personally find it disgusting that when faced with the facts, you will not take action to correct the record. This has nothing to do with issues on either side. These are the facts, and it should be recorded properly. And I think, as a lawyer, he would respect that fact, that the record is that important. It supersedes either party's opinion. It should be the facts. And we have presented facts to you over and over again, and now to a point where I assume you're not going to answer. So I will move on to my next point. I sat through the Defina hearing and listened to discussion of disciplinary action for a Post-it note on a door. I had just pointed out to you breaking of an RSA, which was admitted by the police commissioner. but yet I see no interest in taking any action to investigate that and to find out what happened to that, why that happened, and how it happened, and who was responsible for that. I find that to be two standards. And Mr. Gagnon, I think that you were incorrect when you said that there's only one standard, because clearly, if you do not take action on investigating something that is broken in New Hampshire RSA, December 8th was destroyed before the minutes were approved. You said that yourself at the meeting that that was incorrect. That violates the RSA concerning minutes of meetings.
Does it violate that? I have no idea.
You said so yourself. When Mr. Willett was pointing it out, you said, yes, we know that was wrong. We
I
know
didn't
that
say it violated the RSA. I believe it was wrong.
Okay, you said it was wrong, and you said that no one on this board had knowledge of it. To me, that would warrant an investigation. If a Post-it note with 3 exclamation marks on it.
All right, let's put it this way. The public doesn't get to call investigations.
I'm asking as a citizen. I'm asking for one of the commissioners or the chief himself, when presented with the facts, to look into it. The other point that I have is concerning the letter that was sent to the town council. As a citizen and not very familiar with some of the police procedures, I'm having a hard time understanding why it is that the police commission prefers to have people on the commission that have no police experience. We have been told many times when we have commented on management practices in this department that this is a paramilitary organization and it operates differently than other management organizations. And I would agree with that. And I think, therefore, that it would be helpful to have someone that has an understanding of the management structure of a paramilitary organization on this commission to be able to understand it. I also find it rather odd that in these letters, you're basically discounting 3 qualified people and not mentioning the one person who has lost their license last year for not blowing a breathalyzer test. To me, that would stand out more than someone's service, particularly one person who has indeed a lot of service on the police department. And I question the commission's judgment if they are basically discounting those 3 former or present officers in favor of someone who has a violation of that nature. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Evening, folks. I'd just like to comment on a few reports that Mr. Pearl has made.
Excuse me, sir, could you state your name?
I beg your pardon. My name is Dick Sullivan. I live in town here at Walker Drive. And I'm presently standing for appointment to this commission by the council. Mr. Pearl apparently is a bit of a loss about his camera to record things. After the last council meeting, he rushed home to post a report of that meeting at 12:31 a.m. He doesn't have a lot of talent as a reporter. He reported that I had a DUI on my record. I do not. The gentleman listened to Mr. Piscatola indicated that I had an ALS suspension. There's a difference between the two. As a result of his inaccuracy, things were swimming around town. Who is this guy, Sullivan? Jimmy Sullivan, who serves on the school board, had to respond because folks think it was him. So he bears the same honorable name I do. Mr. Curl, over past postings, has indicated that I am some sort of stooge. John Grabowski indicates that the chief put me up to this job. The chief did not. Other citizens did ask me to stand for this job. So I did. And I intend to stay there, and I do not have, as there indicated, any prior arrangements with the commissioners here, with the chief, or anyone else. I have no particular agenda other than to serve this town and the police department in a diligent and deliberate fashion. So it would be appreciated if Mr. Pearl could at least wait to establish the true facts of it. There are 3 other errors in that posting of his. I'll pass on them because these guys seem to have a methodology that I find very destructive to the folks that volunteer to work in the town for the betterment of the town. And a couple of these guys, members of the budget committee, I think they're overstepping the manner in which they should conduct themselves as town officials. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Mark Eagle, 42 Main Street. I guess to respectfully respond to that, I don't think we're characterizing anybody one way or the other. Anybody is characterizing one way or the other. The facts are the facts. They are trying to nominate someone for the commission here who has a record of refusing to blow a breathalyzer test, where other candidates are far more crime-free, for lack of a better word. There's an old saying, and pardon me, I'm going to speak up because what I found from the last video was people couldn't hear me on the video. So I'm going to speak up. Not that I'm angry, but I'm speaking up for emphasis so that the video can hear me. There's an old saying, when the facts support your opinion, pound the facts. When one's opinion doesn't support the facts, you pound the table. There's a lot of table pounding going on by the police commission, police command staff, and naysayers, and the noise is deafening. Semantics are the way out of answering any questions. There are those who refuse listening to the facts and instead prefer to attack the individual for stating them, to deflect the argument away from the reality that they can't possibly say anything else to dispute the truth or support their case. It seems evident that there are a limited amount of persons in town, the naysayers, who make a big stink from someone who questions the status quo processes, who attack the messenger of a fact or opinion and demean the person to try to stop them from talking. They have been involved in town for decades, who like to keep things the way they currently are, but who blindly support individuals and events simply due to loyalties to them, yet not based on facts or evidence to support their loyalties and just want the detractors to shut up and go away. Get rid of that blog, they say. Yet times change and people's relationships change, and we must change with it. To give this a historical perspective and to extrapolate from this notion, some short-sighted people in this town would have criticized Thomas Jefferson for writing the Declaration of Independence and the start of the American Revolution itself. Criticized Martin Luther King Jr. for his I Have a Dream speech. Criticized actions taken by the Boston Tea Party. Criticized Reagan for demanding the teardown of the Berlin Wall. And criticized Abraham Lincoln for the Emancipation Proclamation freeing the slaves. Those great Americans literally died for their opinions. I'm speaking to you, Mr. Commissioner. Died for their opinions and their beliefs, but changed the world for what they believed in. The naysayers would have said, shut up and go away. We like it the way it is. They don't want to hear, yes, we can. For them, it's, no, we mustn't. We must follow in their footsteps and make this town a better place to live in. Nothing moves forward in a positive way if it's time is spent criticizing the messenger. And that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. Daniel Webster, New Hampshire's Daniel Webster, used by Abraham Lincoln. Martin Luther King, the time is right to always do what's right. Thank you very much.
Maura Willett, 3 Summerfair Street. I recently attended a town council meeting where Councilor Michael Piscatola brought forward letters from the police commissioners Gagnon and Roy regarding the next appointment of a police commissioner. I commend Councilor Piscatola for being forthcoming with this information. I have these letters in my possession, and they are very troubling. They suggested that 3 of the candidates would not make good commissioners due to the fact that they have law enforcement in their backgrounds, and that what really is needed is a business background. I find this to be highly inappropriate and discriminatory. Also, given the high legal line, this priority seems to be ineffective. I also have in my possession a letter dated May 29, 2008, addressed to the council from Commissioners Gagnon and Maskella, where they are requesting that the council reappoint Commissioner Roy to another term. This letter is also on Hooksett Department letterhead and was typed by the Chief Secretary, Francine, as indicated by initials at the bottom of the letter. The initials of Chief Agrafiotis are also by the Secretary's initials. This to me indicates that our chief is picking his own boss. Again, highly inappropriate. I didn't see a letter from the commissioners acknowledging the fact that one of the applicants currently applying for the commission seat did in fact have a blemish on his driving record, one that has striking similarities to a Hooksett police officer who was fired because of it. Given this fact, as well as the extremely high turnover rate, the low morale of the department, the recent public hearings for grievances, an absolutely enormous legal line, as well as the recent findings by the Merrimack County Sheriff's Department, would Commissioners Gagnon and Roy acknowledge that they may have not have been as effective as needed and think about resigning their positions and allow the council to appoint 2 new members to fill out their terms? Thank you.
Anyone else? It's convenient how you left out the part of the criticism in the report about you people also. It was a bunch for all of us, but it was just handily left out. Those letters are appropriate if you actually read what the commission's job is. It is a business background. We don't run the department. Never have, never will. It's called micromanaging. That's not what this commission was set up for. All right, no other public input? Do you want to say anything on the thing we actually have here?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Move to go into non-public session under RSA 91-A, semicolon 3,